Welcome to the Week in Italian Startup, where we discuss the latest highlights happening in the Italian tech and investment ecosystem. And we go. All right. Welcome everyone to the Week in Italian Startups, where Nicola and we dissect the latest news happening in the Italian tech ecosystem. Welcome, Nick.
Ciao everybody. Ciao, Jack.
Awesome. All right. So big week last week, actually, a bunch of things happening. Nick, what has happened?
I have no idea. I was like going through the news the other day. It was like, okay, let's see what's up. Fundraising. Then another one. Fundraising. Then, let me do a quick search. Fundraising, and then was like, never heard of this before.
Wow, impressive. And then it's not small tickets at all. That's the thing.
No, not at all. We have like probably 2 official rounds under the 1 million threshold, and all the others are above. And
imagine
a couple of big ones actually.
Absolutely. So let's get going with that. Let's start immediately with the biggest round of the week, I would say, which is DoveVivo PropTech. So with the sort of this is a post-COVID sort of feeling. People are trying to move again, travel, like experimenting with moving around, and that's maybe kind of the consequence of that. So DoveVivo is a PropTech startup, essentially doing co-living mechanisms. And they've been active in France, Spain, and Italy, in many cities. So that's super interesting. Raising 50 million actually from one investment firm called Starwood Capital.
Yeah, actually controlled affiliates, which I don't know what it means. So some entities related to Starwood Capital, which it seems it's a quite big asset manager, 110 billion under management. Investing a tiny fraction of it into DoveVivo. And I have to say, this co-living trend is something that's going on underneath, and it seems that Italy has a couple of Italy in the largest sense. So let me fix the sentence. We have a couple of players in this market. One is DoveVivo, the other is Habits.
Yeah.
It's actually a German startup, but the founders are Italians. So I would say I can shamelessly acquire them as Italian. And they're both doing an interesting strategic growth.
Yeah, I mean,
just raising capital. So that's interesting.
So co-living has been basically a trend since, I would say, 2016, 17. That's a post-Airbnb era in a way, kind of trying to glorify a co-living in a nice and decent way, not just sharing random rooms. So that's definitely a product of that as well. And it's been working really, really well in some spaces, especially for young professionals. Actually, maybe moving to big cities, they don't know anyone and they're social. So instead of being alone, there you go. You get a shared room with actually a shared house with other professionals. So that can be extremely interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I believe, I'm no expert, I believe the key difference with Airbnb is that the model actually is ready to accommodate for longer stays.
Yes.
So I don't know, one academic year.
There you go.
Make an example.
If you check the pricing, for example, that's listed as monthly. So my guess is that really they only allow as a unit like the monthly sort of rental. So you can be flexible, but still is
1 month at least.
Exactly. So cool player, definitely cool player, something interesting. I mean, Airbnb is doing like special discount for 30 days or a little more. I don't know how it compares, but definitely like a specialized company doing like a longer term can definitely like shave off some cost, and then you can get better deal probably.
Yeah, and it's probably I'm no expert at all, but there are probably some contractual implications along the stays. So I mean, as long as it's 30 days or less, it's a vacation rental for sure.
Correct.
For longer periods, there's something different in the contracts. So there is some hassle in the management of the interaction with the landlord and the host, guest.
Yeah, the tenant. Yeah.
The tenants. Thank you.
Exactly.
So it's a very interesting one. And in addition to this, DoveVivo is growing by acquisitions. So they acquired, I believe, a French company.
Yes.
Announcement. Chez
Nestor.
Chez Nestor. Sorry, my French is my worst.
Brush, man.
My English.
Brush.
And then they recently acquired in February. They announced another acquisition in another player.
Interesting.
So they're expanding quickly their base of landlords internationally. So very
good job. Awesome. All right, moving on. Our own Everli kind of raising 22 million in a round laid by your friends at United Ventures. So kudos to them for sure. Everli has been like growing. That's the former Supermercato 24. And it's been basically growing in Southern Europe and Eastern Europe, I would say. And they're really on a ramp of growth, which is impressive. And the guys at United are really supporting the growth of the company. So that's since the beginning, I believe, since 2014 I was reading. So that's extremely interesting.
I have to say, I've been following some conversations here and there regarding the e-grocery model at Gorillas, to name an example.
Yeah.
And there is some skepticism regarding sustainability. There was some before today, but now that the market are freezing a little bit, the markets for capital are freezing a little bit, there's more concern about those models. And Gorillas, for example, is planning to raise another $700 million. They just raised $1 billion.
Wow.
Just to stay on the safe side in terms of cash burn. Was probably on seat.
Yeah, I believe so. Do you have another problem as well, that even more localized supermarket, they're like coming up with their own solution, being it like buy online and drive through to get your grocery dropped. So at some point, those guys are really getting organized. They're big groups, so the replicability is high. So that's the risk.
In a sense, yes. Everli has this difference, and it's listed in the investment thesis on the blog post by United Ventures. They are asset light.
Yes.
The basically grocery model, basically a quick commerce model, actually, to be precise, is based on the dark stores model. So basically, Gorillas setups dark groceries in the cities, and they are a density play. So you need to have as many customers as possible close to the dark store in order to make it profitable.
Interesting.
Whereas Everli has no fixed assets. They have people going around and receiving orders, so it's probably only IT.
Yeah.
So you receive an order, and there is someone who goes to a normal supermarket, so shops for you, and then brings you the groceries home.
Yeah.
So there is not the same problem of making this logistics.
Yeah. Makes sense.
On the other hand, I see that there's probably some limits in terms of marginality in the Everli model. Whereas the play with Gorillas, for example, probably is that if you become a big player, you can negotiate prices with suppliers. So you have the purchasing capability of a big supermarket, and that's probably gives you some purchasing power. So you can play with your gross margin. Yeah. Whereas Everli, it's more difficult.
Yeah. I wonder how exactly the consumers are going to react to that, because now we're as a consumer that doesn't know anything about online grocery, we see the classic store offering their own thing, Everli online, Gorillas delivering in like 20 seconds. So, there's a thing going on. Amazon Fresh with some ideas coming up with they want, we don't know. So there are a lot of things going on. So that will be interesting. Who actually passes the test of time? That can be something interesting to see.
Yeah, exactly. Who manages to start delivering groceries without subsidizing it with VC money?
Yeah, totally.
So a lot of investors are paying for groceries of retail customers. So that's interesting.
Exactly.
Anyhow, very, very good for Everli.
Yeah.
They've been quite resilient in the last few years, and this is probably a good market to be in right now because everybody is educating people to receive groceries at home.
Oh, totally.
We'll
totally.
see who wins.
Excellent. All right, going back to healthcare, I would say that's another interesting thing that happened was the funding of about 10 million raise led by CDP Venture Capital and together with Panakes Partners. So the startup we're talking about is Diadem, which is basically they're developing a blood-based test for prediction of Alzheimer's disease. It's based on plasma. It's based on a certain specific protein, and so it's very, very uniquely sort of uniquely built. So that was extremely interesting. What I find interesting is that this is a spin-off of University of Brescia, which started in 2012. So that's a good example on how actually university can actually give birth to great projects, especially in the sort of the health sciences.
Yep. I think we have a stronger track record of university spin-offs achieving results in the life science sector rather
Interesting.
than the digital sector. Yes.
Yeah.
But this is a good example.
Yeah.
And the market is probably quite important. I believe that Alzheimer is, I'm no expert again, one of the problems with Alzheimer is that it's very complex and expensive to manage patients with advanced Alzheimer. So probably the early catching of potential symptoms of the illness is probably a way to act early, increase the quality of life of the patient, so
Definitely.
lower the impact on the social health ecosystem. So
Yeah. No, and actually get better the whole funnel, the whole way of the funnel, because like hard cases of Alzheimer they're hard to treat, they're hard to find facilities for. It's very crazy, but early detection can actually improve the whole funnel. So definitely a very interesting way to proceed.
And if you think about it, when once as a health system, national health system, when you know the impact on your population for an illness such as this one, you can plan for support because
Good point.
you know it years in advance.
Excellent point.
So that's interesting. I mean, this has a lot of implications.
Yeah.
So probably there's much more, but I know nothing.
All right. Moving on, let's talk about there were a few like Cleantech deals which I kind of want to regroup. One is Newlisi and the other one is rubber conversion. So both of them are working into sort of the sustainable industry, I would call it. One is essentially like having a specific treatment for mud, which has been, I don't know if mud is the technical term, but let's call it mud. I'm sorry.
I think so. Industrial mud.
Okay, industrial mud for the purification of water. And here we have like some good, some actually well active Italian player in the VC ecosystem, 360, Indaco, and also Micheli Associati has been like coming up very much. I don't know if they're like opportunistic or they're like thesis driven, but definitely there are like some interesting notable players, I would say. That's one. The second one is rubber conversion, a Cleantech startup working actually to make sure that the discard of the rubber production, tires and so on, they get like reused or kind of reprocessed in a certain way. Here again we have CDP and LIFTT from Turin. Again, LIFTT has been a big player in science sort of oriented play and a very active investor in the past, I would say 2 years. So good job on that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have much to add other than I believe that we met CDP Venture Capital, or we are meeting CDP Venture Capital 3 times this week. Yeah. And the third one is another medtech, biotech startup. And in all these three cases, it is the Evolution Fund, the specific investor.
Interesting.
The one specializing in deep tech.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm very happy to hear it's starting to deploy capital. It's a very important fund.
Awesome. All right. I have to mention myself now.
Yeah, it's your turn. Tell
All
us
right.
everything about this deal.
So that was interesting. So as you guys know, I'm partner in In3 Ventures. So we focus on corporate venture capital. We led as a raise, part of the 2 million raise of funding in a seed round. We basically coordinated and co-invested with a cohort of angels and corporate partners. And we're helping out Off, which is a sports gear startup, as you mentioned. They're developing like a new tech for vision goggles that they darken with special sun condition, and it's some of the fastest in the industry. They're really well known. They're post revenue. Their product is good. Go check it out. Write me, guys, if you want like a discount code. I can provide that.
Cool. Good to know.
Exactly. So the good thing was that these guys they have product deployed. It's not digital per se. They really work on tech, mostly on hard tech, and they've been doing really well. So we really like the deal. There you go.
Okay, I see they are part of patent pending. So
yes.
Something very okay.
Exactly.
Nice. But is this a technology that can be transferred to the traditional eyeglasses?
That's exactly. Yes, they are coming up with a prototype. Yeah, you got it. And there are many actually applications.
100 times market than the
exactly. So the ski goggle was kind of the entry point, but in reality, it's way broader than that, including like helmets for motorcycle, for example, or other kind of helmets. Just think about that. And it's a big matter of safety, and that's where we really like the deal. So the projections, including the non-goggles projected revenue, that's really what is appealing for the company. That's what I would say. All right. After thank you so much. So after this, I want to jump straight to Exor. My gosh, that's something awesome. So basically, what a play. So basically, the new partner was announced last September, I believe. And he's the chairman, exactly. And now, Diego Piacentini. And now they just essentially launched a structured way to make seed investments in Italy, kind of on the same line as YC, Y Combinator. And as you rightfully mentioned, Kima Ventures from France, which is essentially like deploying a ton of capital in small bets really quickly. So the goal is to get to 100 Italian startups per year, with ticket size above about 150K. And the rhythm is 2 Italian startup a week, right? So that's ambitious. It's extremely ambitious. I would love to see that.
Yes.
But
and a fixed valuation between 5 and 8% of capital acquired in the deal. Quick decision.
Yeah, and no board seats. So no board seat at all. That's very interesting too.
But that makes sense for 150,000. Yeah. The point here is that acquiring at least 5% of the company with 150,000 euros is basically 3 million post-money valuation, which is quite lowish for what we are seeing now in the market, depending on the stage, etc. But still, is lowish. Then with this amount of planned investment, you can build a very big portfolio quite quickly. Yeah. And then Exor is a big name.
Yes.
So I expect that it will become some kind of signaling to other investors. So basically, I expect that all startups that are announced coming out of the Exor program, they will receive basically phone calls from everybody saying, "Hey, I want in on this one." So crowding out and valuation inflation.
Absolutely.
Are coming to Italy
soon. Coming soon. Awesome. All right.
Excellent. We needed it. So I mean,
I think so.
Some player who correlate the market around it, and we'll see what happens.
And what I really like.
Final point. There's a big difference between let's say Kima Ventures or YC.
Yep.
Exor is a family office with hundreds of billions of assets under management.
I think so.
So they have a huge dry powder reserve to double down on winners. So it's not just 150,000K. That's
totally
a way to build a portfolio.
And another thing I really like is that it's not their first rodeo. They've been doing that like silently. They've been like placing bets in early stage. It's not the first time that they're doing it. So this is just to make it a structure and make it more institutional. So I think they're doing a great job for sure. So that's great. All right. On a last note, I really want to mention the document that you actually shared, which was particularly interesting. And for all the people out there that are actually raising or planning to raise a Series A round, that's really an invaluable document, which has been like put together by some of the most prominent Italian venture capitalists in Italy. And this is a great starting point for any founder looking for a baseline with all the terms, this is a great step, honestly, guys, for kind of getting terms standardized across different series. And this is kind of the first example of that in Italy. So I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, there have been some experiments during the years. IFI, the Italian Association of Private Equity and Other Investors, produced something similar a few years back, I believe. But it's very good that we have a new updated version. Italian Tech Alliance did a good job of preparing the template term sheet and the glossary, Italian English, with all the key terms. And I believe it's quite useful because a lot of entrepreneurs are not familiar with a lot of the concepts, and it's important.